Yes, good morning, students. So today we are starting with our next topic, and our next topic is inheritance of genes. So here I am going to tell you two types of inheritance. First is inheritance of one gene. So such a cross is known as a monohybrid cross. Okay, student, what is the monohybrid cross? A monohybrid cross is such a cross in which we study the inheritance of one gene at a time. Such a cross in which we study the inheritance of one gene at a time. Okay, student, as you know that one gene it always control one character by producing one protein, or you can say one enzyme. So here I am taking the character that is plant height in case of pea plant. So as you know that Randall has selected Python sativa for his studies. So here from Python sativa I am taking the character that is plant height. So in female generation I have two parents. One parent which are homozygous tall in nature. So here they are designated as capital T, capital T. And then another parent that is homozygous dwarf. So they are represented as small t, small t. So capital T, capital T, they represent homozygous dwarf plants, and small t, they designate homozygous dwarf plants. Now what we do cross pollination among them. So here we do cross pollination, and what we obtained in the F1 generation. So in the F1 generation we have one capital T and one small t. So this capital T and small t, it is a hybrid. So it is heterozygous in nature. But as you know that from the law of dominance, what is the phenotype of this plant? So this is heterozygous tall in nature. Okay, students. So when we do the selfing of this, F1 hybrid, then what you obtain? So on selfing of F1 generation, what you get? We have three types of phenotypes. So one is capital T, these are the homozygous tall plants. Another is capital T, small t, these are heterozygous tall, and another is small t, so these are homozygous dwarf. So all of you remember very well that in a monohybrid cross, the phenotypic ratio for a monohybrid cross is always equal to 3:1. This means three plants they have a tall character and one plant is a dwarf character. And about the phenotypic ratio, so here in case of a monohybrid cross, the genotypic ratio is 1:2:1. This means one plant is homozygous tall, another plant, two plants they are heterozygous but tall in nature, and one plant is homozygous and dwarf in nature. So this cross is known as a monohybrid cross because here we study the inheritance of one gene at a time. Okay, so the next cross which I am going to tell you is a dihybrid cross. So in case of a dihybrid cross, we will study the inheritance of two genes at a time. So next one is a dihybrid cross. What is a dihybrid cross? A dihybrid cross is a cross in which we study the inheritance of two genes at a time. Okay, students, here I am taking two characters simultaneously. So one is the seed color, and along with seed color, I have taken seed shape. So in P1 generation, I have two parents. Seed color for first parent is capital Y, that is the yellow seed color. And seed shape here is capital R, that is the round shape of the seed. So first is capital Y, capital R, that is yellow round. And small y, and small r here represent green and red color. So as you know, we have done cross pollination, and after cross pollination, we have one capital Y, one small y, one capital R, and one small. So this is the F1 generation. And according to the law of dominance, what is the phenotype of this capital Y, small y, capital R, small r? So it is again yellow and around in each. Okay, students. Now, after selfing, I have obtained four type of allelic combinations. One is capital Y with capital R, then capital Y with a small r, then small y with a capital R, and small y with the small. So here we get these four type of allelic combinations in two copies. So with the help of this, we here can construct a Punnett square. So here I am going to construct the Punnett square for the F2 generation. So you can easily write here that I have four type of allelic combination: capital Y, capital R, capital Y, small r, small y, capital R, and small y and small r. Same thing I have written here also: capital Y, capital R, capital Y, small y, capital R, and small y, small r. So on the basis of these four allelic combinations, we obtain four type of genetic constitutions. So one thing you have taken in your mind, that always write the similar type of letters together. So capital Y, capital Y, capital R, then capital Y, capital Y, capital R, and small r, then capital Y, small y, capital R, and capital Y, small y, capital R, and small r. Same thing we have done for the second, third, and fourth lines also. So capital Y, capital Y, capital R, small r, capital Y, small r. So capital Y, small y, capital R, and small r, and capital Y, small r, and small r. Same we have done for the third one. Capital Y, small y, capital R, capital Y, small y, capital R, small r. Then small y, capital R, and small y, capital R, and small r. Then for the last line we have capital Y, capital R, and small r. Then capital Y, then small r. Then small y, then capital R, and small r. Then we have small y, small r. How can we do the counting for these characters? So if we have capital Y, then it is always yellow color shades. If we have capital Y, small y, then it is a pink yellow. And if we have small y, this means they are green in color. And similarly, for shade shape also, capital R is always a round shape shades. Capital R, small r is also round shape shades. And small r are also always wrinkled shades. So when we done the counting on the basis of these characters, okay, and we obtain the calculations from this Punnett square, what we obtain that in a dihybrid cross, In a dihybrid cross, the ratio is always equal to 9:3:3:1. Okay, student, this is the ratio 9:3:3:1, which is known as the dihybrid ratio. So here 9 is round and yellow in nature, 3 is round but wrinkled, and 3 are, you can say, green but round in nature, and 1 is green and wrinkled. So in a dihybrid cross, we always obtain 9:3:3:1 ratio. So what we observe, that the ratio that is equivalent to 9, which are around yellow, and the ratio that is equivalent to 1, which are green and wrinkled, these are actually the parental characters. And the other two combinations that rounded comes along with, you can say, yellow के साथ राउंड हमेशा आता है, तो राउंड ये comes along here green, and green comes along with around. So both of these characters, they are the non-parental type of combinations. So always remember, in a dihybrid cross, we have 9:3:3:1 type of ratio, which is a common, or you can say typical dihybrid ratio. So this is all about the dihybrid cross. So after the dihybrid cross, I am going to tell you about a special type of cross by which you can easily find out the makeup, or you can say the phenotype of the F1 offspring, whether it is a homozygous or it is heterozygous. And that cross is known as a test cross. So test cross is a kind of a cross with the help of which you can find out that sometimes we have homozygous characters, which are pure for the characters, and sometimes we have heterozygous forms where the mixing is there. So which particular character is present in the individual, whether it is a homozygous or it is a heterozygous, or finding out this, we have a special type of cross, and that is known as test cross. So how we do this cross? So always remember, in test cross, one of the parent is always homozygous or recessive parent, and the other parent, it may be homozygous dominant in nature, or it may be heterozygous parent. So I am taking the case 1 where I have the character that is flower color in pea plant. So flower color in pea plant, as you know, two type of flowers. Flower color is found in case of pea plant. One is the violet flower color. So violet flower color is designated by capital W, violet flower color. And we have done its crossing with the small w, and that is white flower. So here what you see, in violet flower color we have two types of alleles, and both are similar, that is capital W and capital W. And in case of white flower color, we also have two types of alleles, which are homozygous, and these are small w. So on the basis of this, we can easily construct a Punnett square. So here in the Punnett square, we have capital W, and we have small w and small w. So on the basis of this, we obtain four types of constitutions. So one is capital W, small w, then we have capital W, small w, then we have capital W and small w, then again we have capital W and a small w. So if the one of the parent whose phenotype we are going to check, if it is a homozygous dominant character, in that case, what you obtain in a Punnett square, you always obtain the hybrid constitution of the individual, and this constitution is always equal to 100%. So here I can get all the hybrid forms. So the combination of these hybrid forms is equivalent to 100%. So this means that the parent whose phenotype I have checked in this cross is actually the homozygous dominant. But you can also say that this may not be the case always. So what can be considered as the case 2? Suppose the phenotype of the parent is heterozygous. So one of the parent, if it is heterozygous, then we can give its constitution as capital W, small w. So the phenotype of this parent is again violet flower color. And as I have already said that in a test cross, the second parent is always the homozygous recessive parent. So the color for the second flower is white color. So in this, what kind of alleles we obtain for the first parent? We have one capital W and one small w. And for the another parent, as it is the recessive, so both the alleles they are similar. So here we obtain both small w's. When we construct the Punnett square from these alleles, what you obtain from the first one we have one capital W and one small w, and for the recessive parent we have both small w's. So what is the constitution of the offspring? So here we have capital W, small w, then capital W, small w. And we have small w, and small w. So capital W, small w, we get how much? 50%. And small w, it is also equal to 50%. So here we obtain hybrid character. That is 50%, and phenotype of this hybrid character is violet flowers. So violet flowers here we get 50%. And white flowers they are also 50%. This means the parent whose phenotype we have checked, it is not the homozygous character. Instead of that, it is the heterozygous character. So always remember in a test cross, if the parent whose phenotype is checked by us, it is dominant parent. In that case, we obtain all the hybrids, and the ratio of those hybrids is equivalent to 100%. But if in the second case, the parent is a heterozygous one, in that case we obtain 50% dominant character and 50% recessive character. So by this test cross, we can easily find out the constitution, or you can say the phenotype of the another parent, because you know that in case of dominant character we have two types of form. One is the homozygous form and another is the heterozygous form. Always remember, in case of homozygous form, we always get 100% hybrids, but in case of heterozygous form, 50% hybrids are there and 50% recessive characters are. Okay, students, after this, I have already explained you the laws of inheritance. So today I am taking one very important topic, and that is incomplete dominance. So as you know that the law of dominance, it states that F1 hybrid always will show the character of the dominant parent. But there may be certain exceptions in this law. The law of dominance, it is not fully valid. As we have a plant and it is known as Labidus jalapa, or you can say its another name is cold oblong plant. In this plant, as well as in snapdragon. What you observe, we have two types of flower color visible to us. One is the red flower color, that is designated here by the letter capital R, red color of flower. And this red flower color, it is actually the dominant one. And then another parent is a small r, which is the recessive character here, that is white flower color. So as you expected according to the law of dominance, that what you get in F1 hybrid. So in the F1 generation, you are expected that we have the combination capital R, small r, And what is the color which appeared in this hybrid? So it can be expected that this color should be red flower color. But what happened in this case, instead of this red flower color, the color which appears in the flower, it is actually the pink color. So here we obtain pink color flowers in the F1 generation. This means the blending of the alleles it takes place, and some of the expression which is controlled by these white alleles, they comes under this hybrid. And when we do the selfing, then what you obtain capital R, capital R, capital R, small r, and small r, small r. So 1 is to 2 is to 1 ratio, which is the typical genotypic ratio for a monohybrid cross it is obtained. But this capital R, their phenotype is red flower color. And capital R, small r, they are pink flower. And small r, they are actually white. So how this incomplete dominance it can be explained here. So what is said that here the law of dominance it is not fully operated. There is blending of alleles, some of the dominant alleles. As the dominant alleles, they have to show their 100% expression here. But instead of that, some of the expression from these recessive alleles, they also come under these F1 hybrid. So as we expected that the color of these F1 hybrid plants, they should be red flower color, but instead of that, the pink flower colors they come. So here we explain this phenomenon by giving 3 type of reasons here. So how can you explain this incomplete dominance? So what is said that in case of incomplete dominance, always remember one gene becomes modified gene other gene becomes unmodified, or you can say other gene remains unmodified in case of incomplete dominance. So what happened? This modified gene, it can show its expressions in 3 ways. It can do 3 things here. So first thing is this modified gene. It can behave as a normal gene, and if it behaves as a normal gene, then it means it produces the normal type of enzyme. What is the second case? That this modified gene, it can not produce any enzyme. So no enzyme is produced by the modified gene. And what is the third case? The third case means it produces enzyme which is less efficient. So what is this modified gene? So always remember this modified gene is generally the dominant gene. And you know that in case of snapdragon, here the red flower color it is the dominant one, and the white flower color it is the recessive one. So the modification it takes place in the dominant gene is this. The red flower gene it gets modified, so it has to show its full expression in the F1 hybrid. So what we expected that the F1 hybrid it should have red flower color, but instead of that, as it produced a less efficient enzyme, so full expression is not seen. So red color is not visible in the F1 hybrid. Instead of that, pink color is visible because as the enzyme that is produced by the dominant gene, it is less efficient. So in that case, the recessive genes will also start showing its expression. So blending of the genes it takes place. So the phenotype which appears in the F1 generation, that is actually the pink flower. So in this way, you can explain the incomplete dominance. So these questions can be here. Either no enzyme is produced or the enzyme produced is less efficient, or either the unmodified, you can say the modified enzyme will also behave normally. So in that case where the modified enzyme it behaves normally, so there is no expression of phenotype, or you can say no expression or phenotype, it gets affected, it behaves normally. But as you are here studying about incomplete dominance, so in this case two other things can be possible: either non-functional enzyme is produced or no enzyme is produced. Okay, student, after this incomplete dominance, I am taking the next topic, and that is known as codominance. As the name itself indicates, codominance means when two or more genes they behave as dominant genes at a time. जब एक ही टाइम पे एक से ज्यादा जीन्स डोमिनेंट जीन्स की तरह बिहेव करती हैं, such type of phenomenon is known as codominance. So when two or more genes they behave as dominant genes at a time. So the common example of codominance is the ABO blood group, ABO type of blood in humans. So this ABO type of blood, this phenotypic character of the blood is controlled by how many genes, how many alleles here. So three alleles they control the phenotype of ABO blood group. They control the phenotype of ABO blood group. What are these alleles? So here we have first allele, that is IE, second allele is IB, and the third allele is a small. So here both the alleles IE and IB, they act as dominant alleles. And the allele small I, it acts as a recessive allele. So on the basis of all of these three alleles, we obtain here 6 type of phenotypes in case of human blood group. So what are these phenotypes that I am going to tell you? That 6 type of phenotypes that are obtained in human beings regarding the blood group. Okay, see students, types of alleles and blood group on the basis of that. If we have allele IA and IA twice, so as you know that IA is a dominant type of allele, so the blood group of that person is A. If a person has one IA allele and one small I allele, so you know that IA is a dominant allele and small I is the recessive one. So here again, the blood group of patient is A. What is the third situation if we have both alleles as IB? So here the blood group of that person is blood group, it is B. What is the second situation when one IB is present and one small I is there? So here the blood group is blood group B again. And what is another thing? If we have one IV and one IV situation is there, in that case, both the alleles they behave as the dominant alleles, as it is codominance. So the blood group of that person is blood group AB. And the sixth situation is that both the alleles are the recessive one, that is small I. So in that case, the blood group of that person is O. Okay, student, in this way, on the basis of these three alleles IV, and small I, we obtain six phenotypes for blood groups in humans. Okay, student. So such a phenomenon it is known as codominance. All right. So this is all about codominance. So after codominance, I am again taking one example of incomplete dominance, and that is related with the formation of starch in pea seeds. So here again, incomplete dominance is visible. So I am going to rub this. And here I am again telling you another example of incomplete dominance, and that is starch formation in pea seeds. Okay, student, incomplete dominance का दूसरा एग्जांपल है ये. Incomplete dominance, and this is starch formation in pea seeds. So according to the amount of starch that is found in the pea seeds, we have two types of seeds as parents. So in the P1 generation, we have the phenotype capital P, and this capital V it represents broad seeds having more amount of starch, and another is small v. So this designates the narrow seeds having less amount of starch, or you can say these are large seeds or these are the small seeds. So after doing cross pollination, what we obtained? We obtained one capital V and one small v. So these capital V and small v, these are those seeds which have intermediate size, and these intermediate size seeds they have some average amount of starch. And when we do the selfing of these F1 hybrids, what we obtain that in the F2 generation we have one capital V which are the large seeds, or you can say broad seeds, and one capital V small v. Two capital V small v is found, which are those seeds which have intermediate size, and small v small v is also present in one amount. So here the ratio name is 1:2:1. Genotypic ratio is same, but according to the phenotypic ratio, we have capital V as 1. And what is the phenotype of this type of seeds? So these are the broad seeds having large amount of starch, and capital V small v they are the seeds. They are again 1, and these are intermediate seeds, and they have average amount of starch. And then we have small v. So these are narrow size seeds having less amount of starch. Okay, student, this is another example of the incomplete dominance. So today we have studied three type of process. One is incomplete dominance, another is codominance, and third one is test cross. So whenever one question is asked in the examination regarding the incomplete dominance, then you have to give the example of snapdragon, or it is known as Antirrhinium majus, and another is Mirabilis jalapa, which is known as the 4 o'clock plant. We have also done monohybrid as well as a dihybrid crosses. So you have to study it up to page number 80. So we have completed all the 3 laws of inheritance that were given by Mendel at that time, that is principle of dominance, principle of segregation, and principle of independent assortment. We have also done monohybrid, dihybrid crosses, incomplete dominance, codominance, and a test cross. So you have to revise up to page number 80, and after this we will do that chromosomal theory of inheritance, as I have already discussed, that this chromosomal theory of inheritance that was given by the 2 scientists, Sutton and Bubri. And what is chromosomal theory of inheritance it is related with, that we will study in the next lecture. So that's all in today's lecture, students. Have a nice day.